is exactly where I disagree with you. This is the construct you are trying to impose on me, and I don't accept it. I mean, I don't think it's necessary for me to join this axis or not, and if I'm not joining this, I must be with the other one. I don't accept that. I mean, I think I'm 1/5 of the world's population. I am, today, the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world. I mean, forget the history, civilization bit, everybody knows that. But I think I'm entitled to have my own side.
Welcome to IndiaRanked. Today we're counting down the top 10 most savage and powerful replies by Dr. S. Jaishankar on the world stage. Get ready to be inspired. Number 10. Name me another country that has done as much for the global south. At a time when many nations were hoarding vaccines, India chose a different path: generosity. Dr. Jaishankar powerfully reminded the world of India's unmatched humanitarian contribution during the COVID-19 pandemic.
In fact, during that period, we had exports to over 150 countries, many of whom were not part of our traditional markets, and many of whom were actually in Europe. The other contribution we made during the pandemic was to share our healthcare experience and expertise in our own neighborhood and also in Africa, because one of the big concerns at that time was that the global health response was very differentiated, and we did not want to see inequity insofar as African countries were concerned. When vaccine production and distribution started, we were one of the big global hubs to make vaccines, and we supplied vaccines to 101 countries, including to the United Nations for the use of its peacekeepers.
Number 9. We have not seen a lack of weapons supply to conflict zones in the past. Critics questioned India's trade with Russia during the Ukraine war. Jaishankar didn't flinch. He reminded the West of its own actions.
India is being asked, are you funding this war?
So, look, I mean, I don't want to sound argumentative, but then tell me if buying Russian gas is not funding the war? I mean, why is it's only Indian money and oil coming to India which funds, but it's not gas coming to Europe which funds? I mean, look, somewhere, I mean, let's be a little even-handed out here. And even this, look, the whole narrative that it's gone up 9 times. I mean, it's gone up 9 times from a very low base.
Number 8. Look who's talking. Responding to U.S. criticism on human rights, Dr. Jaishankar delivered a diplomatic jab with facts, without naming names.
This seems to be my day to get a lot of advice and suggestions from the press, so thank you for joining that. But look, we watch what's happening in the world like any country does, and we draw our conclusions and make our assessments. And believe me, we have a decent sense of what is in our interest and know how to protect it and advance it. So I think part of what has changed is we have more options than we did before. I mean, look at us today. We are standing here for a 2+2 with a substantial defense collaboration which has happened in the last decade, which we have been discussing how to take forward. And this wasn't an option which was there for 40 years before that.
Number 7. Why would anyone help Delhi when he didn't help Ukraine? When Asia expected support during its conflicts, it received silence. Jaishankar made sure the West remembered that.
How do you think you'll be trusted by others after that? Why do you think anyone will help Delhi after you didn't help others over Ukraine? Thank you.
It's an interesting question which you might, I mean, not you, meaning you personally, but people might want to ask themselves, because if I were to take Europe collectively, which has been singularly silent on many things which were happening, for example, in Asia, you could ask, why would anybody in Asia trust Europe on anything at all? First, I would urge you to get the factual position accurately. Secondly, in terms of the connection you are making, look, we have a difficult relationship with China. We're perfectly capable of managing it. It's if I get global understanding and support, obviously it is of help to me. But this idea that I do a transaction that I come in one conflict because it will help me in conflict too. That's not how the world works.
Number 6. You're asking the wrong minister. At a UN press conference, a Pakistani journalist asked when India would stop terrorism funding. Jaishankar replied with calm intensity that left the room silent.
You're asking the wrong minister when you say, how long will we do this? Because it is the ministers of Pakistan who will tell you how long Pakistan intends to practice terrorism. So, look, at the end of the day, the world is not stupid, the world is not forgetful, and the world does, increasingly call out countries and organizations and people who indulge in terrorism. And by taking that debate elsewhere, you're not going to hide it. You're not going to confuse anybody anymore. People have figured it out. So my advice is, please clean up your act. Please try to be a good neighbor. Please try and contribute to what the rest of the world is trying to do today.
Number 5. India is entitled to make its own choices. When pushed to pick sides, Jaishankar made it clear, India won't be a pawn in anyone else's game.
Can India take a stand? You've been a diplomat for this country for so long. Do you think we have it in us to take this kind of a stand? Choose sides?
Well, I think we should take a stand, and I think we should choose a side, and that's our side. And I'll tell you the reason.
India first,
Oh, absolutely. Why not? Say, look,
as all countries do, after all. I mean, at the end of the day.
if you look at some issues, say trade issues, trade deficit, market access, non-market economics, connectivity. I think these are issues where actually a lot of our concerns are shared by the US and Europe as well.
Number 4. We do not need sermons from colonial perpetrators. On being criticized for buying oil from Russia, Jaishankar didn't hold back. He threw history back at the critics.
Supplier of weapons and military equipment?
And therefore?
Are you reluctant to criticize Moscow?
No, I think, look, we have a relationship with Moscow. We've had a long-term relationship with Moscow. I think it's important to look at that history of the relationship. It was a relationship built in a period when Western democracies used to arm a military dictatorship called Pakistan and deny India defensive weapons. So if we are talking about principles, let's talk a little bit of history out here. So how did the Indian exposure to Russia and previously to Soviet Union get built up? Because the Western democracies, for whatever reason, decided that their natural partner in our part of the world was a military dictatorship.
Would you consider India an ally of Russia?
No, I think India doesn't. We are an independent country. We do not define ourselves or perceive ourselves in alliance terms. That's very much a Western terminology. It's not a term that we use.
Before you said you're a diplomat, but several weeks ago you called Pakistan, your neighbor, the epicenter of terrorism.
Well, I did it again today without using the word Pakistan.
Yes, and
Number 3. Nor can hosting Osama bin Laden. At the United Nations Security Council, Dr. S. Jaishankar delivered a blow that stunned the room. While Pakistan attempted to paint itself as a victim of terrorism, Jaishankar reminded the world of who was really enabling it.
The credibility of the UN depends on its effective response to the key challenges of our times, be it pandemics, climate change, conflicts, or terrorism. While we search for the best solutions, what our discourse must never accept is the normalization of such threats. The question of justifying what the world regards as unacceptable should not even arise. That certainly applies to state sponsorship of cross-border terrorism. Nor can hosting Osama bin Laden and attacking a neighboring parliament serve as credentials to sermonize before this council. That said, I thank all council members for their contributions. I now resume my duty as the president of the council.
Number 2. We're not sitting on the fence. India's non-aligned stand during the Russia-Ukraine war was misunderstood. Jaishankar cleared the air with sharp logic.
Sitting on the fence is not an option to be a world leader.
I don't think we're sitting on the fence. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't make me sitting on the fence. It means I'm sitting on my ground. And my ground is actually, what are the big challenges of the world? Okay, big challenges of the world are climate change. I think I'm very critical to the solution. I can be an exemplar. I can be actually an arena for an enormous leapfrogging of green technologies. Look at terrorism. Look at the emergence of a world order. Look at security. Look at sustainable development goals. I mean, you take any and all of the big challenges of the world, some part of the answer either comes out of India, can be contributed to India.
Number 1, Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems. This viral moment became symbolic of India's emerging voice, confident, independent, and global.
Number 1, why I wanted to interrupt you in a way. I mean, I'm partly reacting to the previous observation. Somewhere Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not Europe's problems. That if it is you, it's yours. If it is me, it's ours. I think that's something, and I see, reflections of that. Again, in terms of, there is a linkage today which is being made. A linkage between China and India and what's happening in Ukraine. So come on, guys. I mean, China and India happened way before anything happened in Ukraine.
From sharp responses to historic one-liners, Dr. Jaishankar has become a voice of bold diplomacy. Which moment was your favorite? Drop a comment below. This is India Ranked. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more power-packed content.